Noveleando podcast. My name is Gloria De Leon, and I'm here with marvelous comedian and award-winning writer, Andrea Vicunia. Welcome, Andrea.
Gracias. How are you?
I'm good. I'm so excited. So happy Halloween month.
Yes, look at us.
We got our, for those of you who don't watch the YouTube video, this is a good one to watch, at least just a little bit, because we tried.
Yes, we're wearing bunny ears.
Andrea has the cutest little bunny ears, and they flop up and down on command. And I'm just like a little devil. I just got horns because I got lazy. Do you like Halloween?
I like Halloween. I actually went to a British school in Spain, and we were the only ones that celebrated Halloween because it's not a Spain thing to do.
But it's also not a British thing.
I don't know why in my school we celebrated it. So I would make my friends from Spain dress up and go around the house trick-or-treating, which they were all like, why are you here? And we're like, just give us money. I don't know.
I love that you started a new tradition and then told them the tradition is to ask for money when you go door to door.
Or they didn't have candy, or maybe they would give you like, I don't know, other things. I'm like, no, we can do with money and then just, do
So you negotiated with them?
Kind of. But yeah, mostly like just us dressed up. My mom has pictures of us in like knocking the door, like with a blanket as a ghost or stuff like that. So yeah, that was my Halloween.
I love Halloween. It's my favorite holiday.
I can tell.
I mean, I think for most actors, we just love dress up.
Dressing up, yeah. Any costumes. I love costumes. Yeah.
Me too. Do you have a costume you've always wanted to do?
I've done like Black Swan. I did Spider-Man last year. One of my friends sent me like the whole like outfit and I wore it. I've done Mini Evil, like evil.
Like an evil version of you?
Yeah, no, of Minnie. Of Minnie Mouse.
Minnie Mouse.
Like with the hands and stuff like that. Yeah. So yeah, I go into like the cute costume, but also want to wear like something very scary. So I've done both. But I guess if I could choose something very scary, have you seen The Substance new movie?
No.
Okay, it's terrifying. So I would want to do something of that.
Ooh.
Yes.
I like Halloween, but I like a Disney version of everything Halloween. Like, I want everything to be adorable. And have, like, giant eyeballs.
I love it, yes.
Yeah. I think if I could dress up as anything, I saw somebody, I want to say it was one of the dresses somebody wore to a Met Gala or some ridiculous thing.
Yeah.
And it was this Cinderella, it's like in Sleeping Beauty.
Yes.
You know how that part in Sleeping Beauty where the fairies can't agree whether her dress is pink or blue?
Yes.
So it was a light up, it's kind of like Cinderella-y Sleeping Beauty princess dress, but it was LED and it changed its color between, and I would have it be like red, blue.
Yeah.
Color
I love
changing.
that with technology. I like that.
Yeah, I'm a simple girl.
Nothing too complicated. I just need lights of all colors.
Should have seen my wedding dress. Actually, the night before my wedding, I stayed up to like 3 a.m. sewing lights into my dress, and I didn't want.
I need a picture introduced here.
I didn't tell anyone, so the only one who knew was my sister, who got me the lights. But I did it because I didn't want anyone to know until that day. And I got a dress with pockets because amazing.
Yes.
And the moment I found the pockets on the dress, I was like, A, this is the dress. Yeah. And B, I'm going to put lights in this. Like,
I love that they have wedding dresses with pockets.
Yeah. So I knew it. I was going to use the pocket. I was like, this pocket is for snacks and for putting a light pack.
And when did you light it up?
Oh, that was
the dance moment?
So I did not light it up until we did our couples dance. Yes. And I choreographed it so that when I did my out turn, I lit it up.
Did people like scream?
I heard a little bit of like a little tiny bit, but to be honest, I was expecting more.
Yeah, I would lose my mind. I was like, oh my God, how did you do that?
I know. I'm like, maybe they were just shy.
Yeah, maybe.
In my head, it looked amazing.
Yeah, react to my magic.
I know, right?
I love it. Okay.
Tell us, Andrea, tell us a little bit about like what you do. I know I said you have an award-winning film. Yeah. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So I'm from Spain originally, but I decided to start doing acting when I got here, but also start writing my own scripts because all the roles I would get as a Latina-looking actress were very stereotyped, very sexualized and stuff like that. So I decided to start writing always with comedy, because I think comedy is a great way of making people think without being offended. Like if you make it very dramatic, they'll be like, just go back to your country or whatever. But in this case, it's just about me getting to America and realizing the Latina stereotypes, but all done with comedy, and like friends that I've encountered that would say micro racist things to you without thinking it's that offensive. So I just decided to like just use that. And when I released it, people were like so on board, you know, like they were like, oh my God, I've done that to you, or I've said those things to you. So it got a very good reaction from a lot of people when I released this short on Elizabeth Banks' account. And then AT&T reached out because we had filmed during their AT&T Shape competition inside Warner Brothers, part of the short film. And they told me that I was up for the Best Underrepresented Filmmaker Award. So I was living in Chicago at the moment, doing some Woman in Comedy cohort, and they had to fly me back, put me in a nice hotel, come to pick me up. So I felt very much like my princess moment. And Warner Brothers, 4,000 people watching, and they gave me the award. Ava DuVernay did. So that was very exciting. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. You received your award from Ava DuVernay, right?
Yes.
Wow. So the film, what is the name of the film?
It's called Stereotyped. And it's a short film about the shenanigans of becoming an actress in LA, and then being seen as a Latina by everybody. Not that was an issue in any way, mostly just that the roles that were offered to me were very confusing compared to the ones I would get in Spain. And from that, I was able to make it into a series that I filmed with the money that they gave me for the award.
Congratulations!
Yeah.
And you said you also have a film in Spain, right? That you did.
I was an actress in Libres, a series in Spain.
Oh, it's a series.
Yes, it's a series, and it's about squatters that take over this village in the north of Spain. So it was very cool. It was my first acting experience that long of a time. We were like 20 days in this village that only had one person living there.
Oh my gosh.
And just the crew. So it was very funny. The man that was living there was this man that would sing like songs for us, but he would make them up about you. So you're like, Andrea, I love you. It was a very eccentric experience, but the series went very well.
It was an improv guy living in Spain.
Basically alone in a village. We're like, what do you do here? So no, it was very cool.
Wow. And I'm very curious about this man.
I know.
What does he do when there's no people around?
I don't know.
He just lives there?
And then he would cook for us like amazing meals. Like he would make like eggs and potatoes, like it's a very Spanish thing, and that's what we would do at night. So we were like basically isolated from the world. We could only call our families from like this place that had like service. So it was a very eccentric opportunity. I was one of the lead characters. We had this great actors from Spain come, so it was like very it's a very exciting opportunity, and that's what I did. But I always remember that man.
Yes. And you also do a comedy, which thank you. You post a lot of it on Instagram. Yes. Go ahead and like I've seen a lot of your clips because I follow you, and I'm very happy that like I can, because I can't make it to like every person's comedy show. Yeah. So it's very handy to have those like short clips available. But why don't you give us your Instagram handle too, so we can follow you?
Yes, my Instagram handle is @Andrea Vicunia. And I am a stand-up comedian, so I post a lot of clips. I started to do stand-up for the same reason. I felt like my misery was funny to other people. I would come and tell my neighbors about the audition of the day and what had happened that day that was horrible. And they would just laugh and wait and be like, what happened today? So I was like, okay, there's something here. So I think a lot of people can relate to you once you start sharing a bit of like, not the highlighted version of you, but the real life things that happen. And it's the best feeling in the world to have people laugh at like the stuff that you share, even if it's sad.
So, like, I just now turned to look at the video. I hadn't been paying attention, and it's randomly giving us like thumbs up.
I know, thumbs up.
I'm not sure when it does it, but our video randomly gives us thumbs up. Maybe, the video is agreeing that congratulations, you're doing well.
Thank you so much.
Well, today we have our Halloween novela.
Yes.
So I found this novela. I actually found it like a year ago, and I had started watching it, but I was like, "Oh, this would be a great one for Halloween."
Yeah.
So this one is called Siempre Bruja, and so it's about a girl who's a witch. And this one was written, or it came out in 2019. It's a Netflix. Well, I found it on Netflix, but it is a Caracol TV, so it's a Colombian TV station. This is Caracol TV's second series in conjunction with Netflix, which a lot of the TV stations are now going into streaming. Yeah, because they're realizing that's where everybody is. So thank goodness. Yeah. This one is based loosely on a book called Yo Bruja by Isidora Chacon. Although when I went into, because I was curious, but I didn't read the book. I just went into the discussion about the book, forums, because I was like, well, I'm not going to read it right now. Yeah. I don't have time right now. So I checked what other people were saying about the book. And apparently, the story in the book is quite different. Yeah. So even though it's loosely based on it, I would say that's a separate story.
Yeah, it seems so.
So this one, the script is written by Ana Maria Parra. And Ana Maria Parra also, she's written a couple other series. She has a series that she wrote for called No Fue Mi Culpa, and there's a Mexico version and a Colombia version. And yeah, did you ever see the show Casos de la Vida Real, Mujer Casos de la Vida Real?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So I think this No Fue Mi Culpa is a similar style in which they're based on real stories, but they are rewriting them and
reenacting them. Yeah, I've been in some reenactments.
Which reenactments have you been?
7 Minutos. There was one. Yeah, I was this evil mother that goes to jail and all this stuff. So yeah, the reenactments were very extreme always. But then they ended up well. So that was the whole. At first you're it portrayed very badly, and then at the end you're singing with your kid and stuff like that. So
those are pretty strong.
Yeah, they're strong.
My reenactment that I'm well known around the world for is the show I Didn't Know I Was Pregnant, where girls give birth in bathrooms and stuff.
Oh my god.
And okay, here's the frightening part is that my episode is in season 5, which means there's been 5 seasons of people, and my episode was only the 3rd one ever to be recorded in a hospital set. So luckily I quote unquote gave birth in a hospital bed. Okay. But all the other ones were bathrooms, parking lots,
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was just knowing the statistics on that and how many people are just pregnant and don't know it.
Yeah, these real stories that you're what?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, it was fun though.
Yeah, it's fun. It's always
You know what the funny part is? Whenever I tell people I didn't know I was pregnant, most people don't know I'm saying I was the reenactment actor.
Yeah. They're good for you.
Yeah, they're how old is your kid? Yeah, nice. I'm no, I was the actor.
No, just the actor. No pregnancy there.
Yeah. So, all right, for reenactments. Yes, all right, high five for reenactments.
Yes, we love them.
I actually would love to just have a career doing reenactments.
I know, because they're, it's very heightened situations, which I like.
Yeah, it's
good training as an actor.
So dramatic, so over the top. I've been watching this one where it's inventors, and I'm ooh, that one looks fun, but they're all guys. I'm they need the lady ones.
Yeah, where's the female inventors?
So I know they're real. I know they exist. They made things. Yeah, so I want to do one of those. Yes. So Siempre Bruja. Did you get a chance to see any of it?
I got a chance to see some of it, and I also entered the internet to see what was going on, what were their opinions and all that jazz. But yeah, I did watch.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. So did you see both seasons? Because there's 2 seasons right now.
I watched the first one for sure, and then I saw a recap for the second.
Okay, yeah, cool. Yes. You don't even need to watch the second one, really.
I think it's very different.
It is very different, yeah. So we're going to go mostly into the first season, and then we'll talk a little bit about the second season. But yeah, it is a completely different feel and a different story. Yeah. So this one, it takes place in two time periods. It first starts in 1646 during the Spanish Inquisition, which was affecting all Spanish colonies.
Yes.
And so the main character, her name is Carmen Eguiluz, and she is a slave woman who's like, she's like 18 or 19. She's young, yeah. And she falls in love with her master. Basically, this guy is like, ooh, she's hot. So then he buys her to like try to, quote unquote, to protect her.
Yes.
Because he likes her, and then she becomes like a servant of his father's, and so the guy's name is Cristobal. So Carmen and Cristobal have this like very intense love story where like they're not allowed to be together, and then one day they would leave like little notes for each other. They have like there's like this like a doorway, and there's like a hole in the doorway like above the door. And they slip little notes to each other. And also in this time, like, Cristobal had taught Carmen how to read and write. Yes. So they would put the little notes for each other there. And then eventually, like, his parents found out. And they basically accused Carmen of being a witch because how else would, like, a white man fall in love with a slave girl? And also how else...
did she learn to read and write?
Exactly. They were very suspicious of the fact that she could read and write. They were like, she's clearly a witch. And then he says, like, no, like, I taught her to read and write. Yeah. And, like, we're in love. Like, it's not a spell.
That's, like, immediately thrown there. I was like, maybe we could have seen a bit more of their love story, but it's like, as soon as you start watching, they're like, shh.
Yeah.
They're out.
Immediately. You know? Like, there's, like, one scene between them, and then they immediately get separated.
So I think it's, like, a Romeo and Juliet kind of vibe that you can be together, so then the more we want them to kind of be together. Yes. And
actually, that feeling of because we can't be together is why we want to be together, that's going to come up later. Yeah. So right now, they're this very, like, couple who's very in love, and then, like, they basically are going to burn her at the stake, and so for some weird reason, Cristobal's father feels like Cristobal is possessed by the devil because he's in love with her, and he's like,
he's like openly protecting her in front of everybody, which again, I was like, wow, this is very...
Yeah, so he's like professing his love for her, and his dad thinks that because he's doing that, he must be possessed by the devil. So he's like, I'd rather you die than the devil take you. So he just shoots him. Like, his dad just shoots Cristobal.
Which is,
So, again, more Romeo and Juliet type.
Yes.
For real. And so then, before they burn Carmen at the stake, she's like in this prison, and then she hears like somebody talking to her.
Yes. And then she levitates in front of all of us.
Yes. So this guy gives her like these magic words to say. She says the words and she levitates, and she sees this guy, Aldemar. Aldemar is in the cell next to her, and he tells her he is a great wizard, but he's been like under some kind of spell. So he tells her he can travel her back in time before Cristobal got shot. So she can, so that she would save Cristobal's life, but in exchange, she has to go to the future and deliver this like rock he has to somebody named Ninive. Yeah. And so she agrees to it. It's kind of like a pact with the devil type situation.
Like, you'll be in risk if you want to do this for him.
Yes. Yeah. So he's like, all right, when you do this, then I'll help you out. Yeah. So then she takes the stone, and then they do burn her, and then she like suddenly appears out of water. And now we're in Cartagena in 2019. And so so it's like location never changes, it's just the time. And
which is interesting. It's very cool to see.
Yeah, because also when she comes out like on the same beach that she knew in 1646, now in 2019 there's like buildings, and I think when she arrives there's like a party going on.
There's a lot of action going on, but I was thinking, like, if you went from that time, I was like, I would go, like, running around the streets, just, like, trying to see, like, what is all this? Cars?
So she definitely at first, like, runs into the street, and she does almost get hit by cars, and then she's looking at all the lights, and she's very impressed. And then she finds out, because when she first shows up, she's fine, but there's, like, still burns on her feet, so they take her to a hospital. She, like, passes out. They take her to a hospital. And then the hospital calls the police because apparently there's this, like, serial killer case where they're burning women. And so they think she's one of the the victims,
yeah.
but that she survived, so they want to interrogate her to see what she knows.
But she keeps running away.
Like,
just let them talk to you.
Yeah.
Just explain that you came from another section.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I don't understand why she didn't just say that out loud. So she keeps running away, and she like heals her feet herself, and then now they can't find her. But I think the whole point of that is to set up the fact that the police is looking for someone.
To have some pressure, I think. Yeah.
Yes.
On her.
And so, also, just as a side note, just because I was like, when I was watching that first episode when she goes to the hospital, the nurse that is like her attending nurse is the woman who plays the mom of the clone in the novela El Clon. So if you haven't seen, have you seen El Clon? It's literally about a guy that gets cloned. Ooh. And so, she plays the mom of the guy that is a clone. I was like,
shit. I used to watch a lot of novelas when I was a kid with my grandma and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But lately, I now this has given me like the thing like I have to get more hooked in because like you just don't stop watching like one episode.
Yeah. I used to watch them when I was at my mom's house, and then I stopped for a long time because I was busy with college and stuff. Mm-hmm. And then I'm like, oh, that's right. And now they're on streaming services, so you don't have to like wait every day.
Yeah. Because I would wait, like, we would wait to after lunch from, like, 3 to 5 p.m. in Spain, siesta time. That's when they put the novelas. So, like, you would stay awake and be like, can I watch?
Yeah. Do you remember, like, any particular one that you...
Ruby!
That
was, like, every summer. That would be, like... And my mom would, like, let's go back to the beach. I'm like, no! And I was, like, trying to finish, like, what happened at the end of the episode. Just always a cliffhanger. I guess Rebelde.
Rebelde.
Like, at night, they would play that for us, like Mia Colucci, all that stuff. But other ones, I don't know. That was like the middle of the day were always like the ones where like the twin brother came back about that, like all that, like. But I was just so into it, and my mom didn't like that I watched them, so so I kind of hide and watch.
Yeah, it's funny how like when I've had different guests, like the reaction of like most people watch them with grandparents and not with moms, because usually moms are like, don't watch that.
Don't watch that. Why would you watch that? I'm like, abuela is watching. Thank you.
Yeah.
How about you? Did you watch them?
I did watch them. I watched them with my mom. My grandmas were both in Mexico, but I do remember when we would go like in the week between Christmas and New Year's, we would usually spend in Mexico. Yes. And when we were there, it was great because like both my parents have a lot of siblings, so like when the novela was on, it's like all the tios would, and it was the tios. It wasn't even the tias. It was just the tios would come over. I'm dying. I remember I think it was the summer of either my quince or my sister's quince, so we were there like quite a bit. And Los Parientes Pobres was on, and that was the one where Lucero. Lazos de Moros, where she was 3 people. Parientes Pobres was another one where it's like a rags to riches story with Lucerito. And I just remember like, no, ya va a empezar Los Parientes Pobres, Los Parientes Pobres.
Oh my God. Yeah, no, for us, like the men of the family would normally be like, could we change the channel to like soccer or whatever? No, we are finishing watching, then you can go. There was one TV at that moment.
Yeah, there's always only one at the time.
Yeah, the time.
So then Carmen, she goes to the future, and then she basically, since it's the same location, she goes back looking for what she's familiar with, which is the house that she had been working at. Well, not working, being a slave at. And she finds the house, and now it's like this like boarding house. And then she realizes that like that same little slit on top of the doorway is still there. So she puts a little note in there. To test it. And it turns out it's actually like have you ever seen the movie The Lake House?
I don't know.
I don't think so. The Lake House is this movie where it's a Sandra Bullock movie where like she lives in this house, and then a guy lives in the house, but they're in different times, and they leave letters to each other in the mailbox. That's cute. And that's how they get them.
Do they fall in love at the end?
And then they fall in love.
Stop
of course they do.
Oh my God, I'm gonna watch it.
Someone's writing you letters from the future.
Yeah, that's commitment.
Yeah, so like, no, it's definitely like a cheesy love story.
I love it. I'm gonna watch it.
And so there's also like an episode of the show, I think it's Solar Opposites, where they do a similar thing, and they call it the Lake House event, or the Lake House situation.
Got it.
So when I saw that, I was like, oh, it's like a lake house thing. Lake house. So they have this like little portal where they send each other little letters. So then she leaves little letters for him, but she knows also, she kind of doesn't just hoping because she doesn't know.
She doesn't know yet. No, of course.
And she also doesn't know if he's going to get it like before or after he got shot.
Yeah.
So she's just like, let me try this out.
Yeah, let's see what's going.
So then she finds, like, since it's kind of like a boarding house, she kind of talks to the lady who owns it, and she's like, I don't have any money, but I can help, I can work, I can cook. And so they let her stay there. And then like the lady who owns the house, she has a grandson named Johnny Key. And Johnny Key is a hilarious character.
It's hilarious, yeah.
Yeah.
He's so like, I don't know, kinky. No, that's not the word in English. He's just like very like
He's like kooky.
Yeah.
Like, he's a little kooky. Like he he has like a rebellious
he
nature.
thinks he's a bad boy, but he's
does.
not.
Yeah,
that was
what
my
it
vibe.
is.
I'm like, what are you dressed as?
Yes. He thinks he's a bad boy, but he's definitely not. He's really sweet, and like his whole thing is like his parents like died, and he like that's like the chip he has on his shoulder is like he lives with his grandma because his parents have passed away, and he like misses them, and they used to like all do music together, and so now he like doesn't go to school, and he like steals and stuff, but like it's really minor stuff.
Yeah, minor. Yeah, he's like I've done crimes.
Yeah. And so like him and Carmen kind of become friends.
Yes.
And
which is nice to see in the 2019 that she has friends, because in the previous one I was like, what a horrible situation.
oh my god, yeah. I mean, like everything is situational. Like when you have no control over your life.
Yeah.
And so yeah, when she comes to 2019, like she somehow wanders onto this university and she just starts making college friends. And so she basically one of the people that lives in this boarding house is this guy named Esteban, and Esteban teaches at the university. And so I think she finds out through him maybe, or somehow she finds out that Ninive, the girl she's looking for to give her the rock, also works at the university. And so she just shows up, and then Esteban, who's the professor, she shows up to his class, and he's like, do you go here?
What's going on?
Yeah. She's like, yeah. And he's like, I don't think so. So then somehow she ends up registering for classes.
Well, that's not told to us, but she does it.
Yeah, because it's that easy to go to college. Like, you just walk onto campus.
There has to be some magic here that just like you need to put her in that place.
That's where she uses her magic, because like who gets into college just walking onto campus?
Yeah, because her powers sometimes we don't know really what they do, so maybe it's that.
That's true. Because she was instructed though. Oh, because she eventually does find Ninive, and Ninive tells her like, you need to stop using your powers because every time you use your powers, it's kind of like a beacon for this evil dude named Lucien. So she's running away from Lucien, and she tells her that Lucien is this wizard who he wants to track down witches to take their powers. And so she's like, if you don't join him, he will kill you. And so they kind of explain that like, if you don't join him, he turns you into ashes. So then the connection there is like, oh, maybe the serial killer who's burning women is actually Lucien.
Trying to look.
Because he's burning up these women. So then Carmen finds Ninive, and she gives her like this rock. And then a lot of the novela like goes back and forth in time. So then we find out that Cristobal actually didn't die from the gunshot wound, so he's still alive. And they are communicating now via the little lake house device. And so Johnny Key finds out that she is the witch. Like, he sees her like levitating and stuff. And so he's like, his whole thing is like, can I talk to my parents? And she's like, that's not really like how it works. And so he's like, what about this? And he brings out a Ouija board and he tries. There's one really funny episode where that Ouija board comes into play. And she's like, fine, let's see what happens. They don't find his parents. They find some other random ghost. Yes. I forget, like, what the ghost wanted, but he kept following them around. And they were like, no, we don't want to talk to you.
We need the parents.
Yeah.
Cool.
And so, like, Johnny Key keeps messing with magic stuff because he wants to meet his parents again. But he also doesn't know how to do it. So he keeps, like, fucking things up. And at one point... I think
it's, like, a good comedic relief.
Yes.
That he... And also, we would all be the same. Like, oh, you're a witch. Let me use this.
Yeah.
Like, these things. And it's like, no, it's not how it works.
Yeah. If you could talk to anyone, like, from the past. Like famous person or
Well, my grandma for sure. That's the one. No, let's see. I would like to talk. Ooh, that's a tough one. I would love to talk to, I don't know, like actors wise. I don't know, who would you like to talk? I'm gonna think while you talk.
Okay. Selena. Yes, I would love to sit down and just chat with Selena.
Yeah.
That would be great. I'd be like, bring back Selena. If I met a witch today.
Oh my God, bring her back right now.
I'd be like, yes.
Let's do this whole thing of going back and forth.
I know.
Yeah. Oh my God, I didn't know the story well, and then when I listened to it in a podcast, I was like, oh my God, because she was like such a lot.
Oh yeah, have you seen the series?
The series? No.
I haven't seen it either. Yeah, I was I think in elementary school when she died, and I had done like a talent show where I was playing Selena, and then she died, and I was like, no.
Okay, I would love to talk to Sean Connery.
Oh, is he dead?
I think he. Oh my God! Please tell me.
I mean, I don't know.
Okay, well,
I don't know
he was
enough
my
about...
favorite actor when I was a kid, and
okay.
my mom didn't find that weird when everybody was like into Justin Bieber, and for some reason I had watched The Rock, and I thought Sean Connery was a legend. So yeah, that would be.
I mean, he is a legend. For sure.
I know, but like at 8 or 10,
that's
you should
true.
talk to your child. But yeah, my mom didn't, and just bought me posters, so I had posters.
You had posters of Sean Connery?
Yes, that's how I ended up here.
You should write that story. How Sean Connery brought me to America. He's not even American, right? Is he Scottish?
He's
Scottish.
Oh yeah, yes, he's Scottish. Yes, I think so.
Yeah,
yes.
I think so.
I think so. Yeah, we will corroborate all this.
Yeah, I have no idea.
But we'll see. But yeah,
if he's not, sorry, I don't know.
Sorry about that, and I would love to meet you.
I know.
Talk about my traumas.
If we're wrong, Sean Connery, come tell us.
Comment
in person.
Below, Sean Connery.
Given that we don't know if he's alive or dead, he might show up.
Yeah, hey, I would love that. Again.
So then, yeah, Johnny Key keeps like messing with magic, and at one point, Johnny Key, he's like looking up like spells and stuff on YouTube, which is like something that I found really interesting as like a concept for the show, which is like how does magic happen in like modern times?
Modern times, yeah.
And how does it change? Because like whenever we think of magic, we always think of it as like old world.
Yeah.
But it's like now.
Or magicians now with like the cards or whatever, but we don't believe that.
Well, so because those aren't real.
Those
aren't
real.
Yeah. Sorry. I don't know if you knew that. Sorry if I ruined that for you.
I went to a magic show and I chose my card.
I mean, no, yeah, that's magic. A magician. Yeah, I mean, that's totally magic.
It's true that, I mean, for me, it's like a very scary thing. Like when someone is actually like telling you stuff that actually happens or things like this. Like I'm like very like scared of that because I'm like, I don't want to think of all those things. I've never played with the Ouija board. I don't intend to. Look, the funny part is I don't believe in an afterlife, but also I don't mess with things I don't know about. I don't want to mess. I'm like, if you guys are there, cool. Yeah. Just go about your go about your day. Yeah, no, like he's like YouTubing like spells and stuff and like finding like TikToks and I guess what do you think if you needed a spell done, do you think you would trust like going on Zoom and then getting an on Zoom, like does it work the same? I just don't know. Like I would trust the person that looks the part and also is here in front of me and I see what they're doing. If somebody's on Zoom, they could be reading from somewhere. I don't know. I just, all that, I just think it's weird. Like a psychic on Zoom or things like this. Or I'm going to do this from afar. No, be in front of me and do whatever. Yeah, because I've seen that, like, where you can just, like, I've seen the phone call things, but it didn't occur to me that you could just, like, Google Meets a spell across. Like, how does that, what? Like, I'm sure if there's somebody out there, like, who's doing that, I'm sorry to be blowing up your spot. I'm sorry. You must be great, but I don't think it works that way. I think, like, you have there's an energy thing in that, right? How can you feel that here, you know?
Yeah, my understanding of magic is that it is very, very like energy based.
Yeah.
And there's something about technology that interferes with that. In my mind, at least.
And mostly in this case where she's a full-on witch that levitates, let's not bring TikTok, you know?
Yeah.
But also in the note of that, if I had a guy from the past leave me letters, like boat style, I would be terrified. Like, they romanticize it in the movie, I'm sure. But I'm like, what?
That's true. That is scary. That is scary. Well, she's in love. And sometimes when we're in love, we allow weird shit to get past us.
Yeah, yes.
So then Johnny Key somehow finds this like spell online that he's able to contact Aldemar, the original wizard. And he's using Johnny Key to like spy on Carmen. Because Carmen does eventually find Ninive, and then as soon as she finds her, she has like one conversation with her, and then Ninive is gone. She is disappeared. And so she's like, oh well, fuck, she's dead. So what do I do now? Like, I did the thing and now I'm stuck here.
Like, what? I thought that was gonna be like a moment of like psh, and then something magical was gonna happen.
Yeah, no, she's just disappeared. And so then Johnny Key comes up with, he realizes through his conversations with Carmen that the more she uses her magic, the more likely she's going to attract this Lucien dude. Yeah. And he talks with Aldemar, and Aldemar is like, Lucien is bad, he's a bad dude, you don't want him to find her, have her stop using her magic. Yeah. So then Johnny Key gets this spell where he like throws a stone of some kind and it sucks out all her powers. And so for a while she's very confused and doesn't understand why her powers are gone. Yeah. And so
they take her powers and bring them back quite
a bit. Yes. Yeah. And so she also at one point does travel back to her time, because she figures out that the purpose of the stone is if you put it on this very specific, like, it's like a rock that has some shapes on it. Yeah. If you put that stone on the rock, it activates the portal. And that portal, when you put your hands on it, transfers you back to that time. But it seems to only work between those two time periods. Yes. Like, there's no, like, calibration. No. Like, it's just, you're either 1646 or 19 or 2019.
Which would have been interesting to end up in some weird time in between.
Yeah, there doesn't seem to be a way to pick. No. So she goes back in time because when she does have her powers, she goes back in time, and she's back in like where they were trying to burn her, and then it doesn't burn. She doesn't burn. Yeah. And she's like, what now? I'm a witch, bitch. And so she's like, I'm gonna marry this dude because I like him.
This is mine.
And then she also like manages to like talk to all the slaves, and somehow she's gonna free them because they're afraid of her. They understand that she's a witch because she actually is a powerful witch. And so they are afraid of her, so they go along with her demands. And, like, the mom allows Cristobal to be engaged to her. And now that she's inside the house, she's able to, like, make a lot of changes. And she tries to liberate all the slaves in that one house. But that's around the time when she loses her powers. Yeah. And then she's like, they can't realize I've lost my powers. And then they do, and then they catch her again. And then she's gonna, like, go back to being a slave. And they take all her slave friends, and they're all going to sell them again. But then Johnny Key uses the time portal, and he comes back, and he buys her freedom because he gives them, like, a flashlight and a phone. Yeah, he's like, oh, and a switchblade. Look at this. Yeah, he's like, this device captures souls, is what he tells them about the cell phone. And so he takes pictures of them, and they're like, okay, take her. So she buys her back. And so then she has to go, like, back to 2019 because she has to figure out this battle. Because when she brought the stone, when she used it on the portal, somehow it freed Aldemar, the main wizard. Yeah. And now he used the portal to go to 2019. And so it turns out he shows up, and Esteban, the professor from the school, it turns out Esteban is Lucien. So he's actually the supposed bad guy. But then there's this conversation between Aldemar and Lucien where you find out that Lucien is Aldemar's son. And so they're both powerful wizards. Yeah. And Aldemar is actually the one trying to capture all of the powers from the witches. And if they don't join him, he kills them.
Yeah.
And we find out that Lucien's mother had been a more powerful witch than Aldemar, but he had taken her powers, and then she died. Mm-hmm. And so we also find out that the reason Lucien would never hurt Carmen is that he's just been in love with her forever. So it's like this big switch. Yeah. Now, like, Carmen has to, like, switch gears because who she thought was the villain is actually good.
Like any good novella.
Yes.
You have that moment where you're like, wait, I was talking the whole time to a bad guy or a good guy, and also love, of course. Like,
yes.
All that.
And she finds out that he's in love with her, but she's, like, very loyal to Cristobal, who she's just...
Which, again, I thought the whole time, you get to 2019 and you have this hottie. I'd be like, okay, bye-bye.
Yeah.
But I understand love.
No, they were, like, madly in love. And so eventually, like, there's this, like, fight that happens. And so then it's, like, Carmen, Aldemar, and Lucien are all fighting with each other. At this point, Aldemar has also, like, put a spell on some of her friends. And so she's unsure what side they're on because he's kind of, like, hypnotized them. But then there's this... Eventually, it's actually Johnny Key actually ends up saving the day because he uses... I know, like, the unexpected, right?
The unexpected guy. The one that is, like, our side... like. Person.
Yeah, like the sidekick.
Yes.
He ends up, like, he uses the spell he had used on Carmen to take her powers. Yeah. He uses the spell on Aldemar, and he sucks out all his powers. And then Aldemar just kind of, like, disintegrates. Yeah. It's unclear whether he's dead or just traveled somewhere. So that's left a little open. Yeah. Or maybe I just didn't get it. I don't know.
No, that seems to be,
So then, basically, that... It gets sort of wrapped up in that a lot of the side characters have their side stories too, and their stories get wrapped up as well. And season 1 ends with, like, she goes back in time and she brings Cristobal with her. And so now they're going to be in 2019 and they're going to be, like, happy in love and they're free. And now she's, like, a student at a university. Yeah. And so it's like, yay, everyone's happy.
Finishes in a good note. So I haven't seen the second season.
Yeah.
But that finishes in a good note. I feel like the first one was all about the love story, so I don't know if the second one is.
So the first one is very much like the love story. It's very much classic novela in that it's like the struggle, the Romeo and Juliet. It's like overcoming all obstacles for love. Yeah. And then the second season is like it's like a season of like a Seinfeld. Like it turns into like a sitcom. And so season 2, it's also, I will say, it is entertaining. It is definitely fun.
That is like a big switch.
But it's a switch because it's no longer the same story. So now, I mean, it is still Carmen.
Yeah,
so,
thankfully. So it's another person.
Because the first season, actually at the end of it, Joniki is still trying to go back in time to when his parents didn't die. And so he goes into the portal, but... he doesn't know how to use it. Well, no one really does. And so he gets transported and you don't know, like, that's it. That's the end of season 1. Season 2, in the very first opening, very first episode, it opens with Johnny Key in 1646. And he's, like, doing, like a hip-hop style, he's a musician.
Oh my God.
He's a hip-hop style musician in 1646.
Great.
And he's just like...
pioneer of the time.
Yeah. So he's just like laying down some beats. I don't know if that's the right terminology.
Sure. I also don't know, so sure. Let's lay some beats.
And people are, like, watching him. They're, like, really impressed. Because I guess he'd always wanted to be a musician. And then he went back in time and got stuck there, I guess. And so,
does she notice, Carmen?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the reason it's, like, less... I guess the reason it's more silly and less, like... like intense is because in the first one, like the stakes were so high, like she could literally get killed. The time traveling thing was like
stuck in one of the times.
In the second season, the time portal is used like, oh, I'm gonna go to the 1600s for lunch, I'm gonna go grab some mutton, and I'll see you here for second period.
Okay, that lowers the stake a lot. I'll be back. So
she's just traveling back and forth, and like they're just like she brings her friends with her. Like it's no longer like
really?
So
they're just chilling in 2019, and then go back. Bye bye.
So it's like her and her friends, because she has a friend who wants to be a witch too, and so she
isn't that supposedly you're born being or not? No.
I guess. Well, she's teaching her friend. I don't know if her friend like had magical powers and she's just helping her like hone them. Yeah. Or if she's like is attaining them. It's not clear. Right. And so they go, because they're like, we gotta go get Janiki, and he's like, wait guys, I have this cool stuff going on in 2 days. Can you wait for me 2 days? And they're like, okay, we'll come back for you. Yeah. So they like leave. They go back to their time, and it turns out Joniki's hanging out with some pirates, and he wanted to rob them, and then go back to 2019. And so then the second season is like about pirates, and so then there's this one pirate named Kobo, and he's like the leader of the pirates, and he ends up mistakenly traveling back to, now it's 2020 now, and he travels back to 2020 with Joniki.
The pirate does.
Ooh, so now like I guess like the novelty is like him figuring out.
So then does Carmen be a secondary character almost, or
yeah. I mean, there's still, her main storyline is still going on, but it's definitely paired
what's going on with the love story in the second? Because I heard like
okay,
so we were expecting.
Remember how in love they were? Well, she's now in 2020. She's a college student. She's out having fun. She's drinking.
She doesn't want to be locked up.
Well, he's like bored out of his mind because he's just hanging out. He's not doing anything. Why? He's not going to college.
Why?
And then he's like, I wanted to go back how we were. Like, we used to do everything together.
I wanted to go back to you being a slave and me being the power. Yes. Could we do that?
Exactly. And so, like, when he's like, I want to like, make it great, America great again, right? Like, he's like MAGA. He's like,
that's weird.
Because he's like, I wanted to go back how it was because that was what worked for him. Because it was convenient for him. I mean, he literally had a girl who had zero choice in being with him, and even though like I felt it was like an interesting way to pose like the question of like, okay, it is positioned as she was in love with him too, like we felt that, but there's a lot of stories in history about like people who like would have non-consensual relationships with slaves, and I think this is in a way of hinting at that without flat out saying that.
So a bit of like a Stockholm syndrome where he was like, he's help her in that situation, but then when she gets out, she's like, well, he wasn't as great.
Yeah, I think it is a little bit of Stockholm syndrome, because it's like, first of all, he like there was like tons of people enslaved, and it's like, he just thought she was cute, you know? So she's the one that, to him, like, his attraction to her humanized her. Yeah. That's why he saw her as a person. Yeah. So he helped her, quote unquote, fell in love with her. And then she's like, literally, this is my way out. Like, you know? So I could understand that she would feel in love with him. Yeah. But when he tells her, like, I want things to go back to the way they were, she looks at him and like she knows what that means, and she tells him like, I didn't have choices before. Like, I was literally your slave. She doesn't say that, but she does say, I didn't have a choice before. And she's like, no, I didn't mean it like that. She's like, it's just that like I can do other things now. And so she's like, I'm in school.
That opens like a big thing, like how men now want, like women that now have come out to like, we work and we do all these things, like we don't need per se that men, we just want them, which I think should be a better thing than needing you because you support me or you
it's like,
wow.
now it's like if you are with somebody, you literally have the choice. Hopefully, for most people, like you have the ability to choose. Okay. And so that doesn't work for him. And so this like love story.
Do they break up?
So basically, he tells her like, I was too progressive for my time, and I'm too conservative for this one. And she's like, yeah, peace. And so we never see him again.
What?
I don't know where he went.
Excuse me, after all the efforts of season 1, you're gonna just be like, bye-bye?
Yep. So he's only in like the first episode, I think, of season 2. Which at first I was like,
I'm so upset.
I know. I was so mad. But then I was like, actually, I'm really happy.
Yeah, no, I'm happy for her because we don't stand for that. But I'm just saying, like, after we established this whole story, because that's why we went back in time so many times. Like, I mean, give him 2 episodes.
I know.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, I thought like this was such an interesting story because of the like shift that happens. And to me, this story, I know it's so hard not to play with the little ears. Yeah. If you're just listening, you have to watch the video. It's because the little ears just pop up so cute. They're cute. Okay, I thought that this was like a good metaphor for like the way we talk about novelas on this show is that like we acknowledge like there's a lot of problematic issues in novelas, like a lot. But also there's some really good stuff in them too. There's some great like moral lessons, but you shouldn't always just take your advice from TV. No. But I thought this was interesting because the first season presents itself as a classic passion love story. Traditional Romeo and Juliet. Just very like classic love that must conquer all, right? It gives us that. And then season 2 is like, this is reality.
So do you think season 2 was necessary? It's like if we have Romeo and Juliet, they die for each other, and then the second season is like, you know what? No. Bye-bye.
I think that it was a shock initially, and at first I didn't think it was necessary. But now I have to say I've changed my mind on that, because I felt like it was a really good way of tricking someone who wants a classic thing to actually watch something that's like a little more, I guess, able to take risks. Yeah. So the second season, while it doesn't give us that love story, it does give us like a little bit of it still has like love in it. Yeah. But it's more like the story of her almost like having this relationship with herself. Like this story is about her. It's not about her and her love story. The second season is finding what she wants in life. Yeah,
I think that was needed in the first season because I was like, we don't get to know her that well with all the things that are happening. So I was like, who is this person, you know? So I think that's nice. I also saw online that she looks for her mom in the second season or something like that.
So her her love story in the second season is more the relationship with her mom. And so she now has the ability, she knows how to travel through time. Yeah. So her goal is to go back in time to save her mom, because her mom was also burned at the stake as a witch when she was young. And so she wants her mom to experience what she has.
Was the mom a witch too?
Yes. Yeah. So she's got like a long lineage of witches. And so part of the goal in season 2 is that there's this book of spells and there's like a forbidden chapter. And that chapter, it's one of those like careful what you wish for situations where it's like, and they say like that magic gives, but it also takes something in return. So she's gone to this section where there's a spell in there that will help her bring her mom, but the cost is very high, and we'll explore what that is in a little bit. But it's more about like who she, like the love story is her and her mom. And we get to see more of like, who is this person now that they have choice for the first time in their lives? And it's a little bit of like a coming of age story where she's making friends, she's studying.
She's thriving.
She is thriving. And she discovers the internet.
Oh my God. What a moment in life.
So then because she found out that this spell she wants to cast, she needs 2 witches of lineage in order to do it.
Does she find them online?
Well, that's what she's trying to do. So she starts she starts like reading people's poems like in public, like where people will see her. And it's funny that all you have to do is do something interesting in public and someone with a camera will find you.
Yes.
You don't actually need to set it up. Like, someone will find you. Yeah. And so somebody does. And then there's the second season.
So is there no threat of a bad guy seeing her in that public situation?
No. Okay. So somehow, like I said, all of the stakes have been lowered. Like,
that's odd, because that would be interesting if she's doing that, but someone could see her, blah, blah.
Yeah, because in the end of the first season, you know how there was like the policemen were trying to find the serial killer, and they're still following her around because they think she knows. Yeah. Well, at the end of the first season, where there's this battle between her and Lucien and Aldemar, the police shows up and they see these people flying and shooting stuff at each other. And so by the time the second season rolls around, Colombia's like, all right, cool. So that person's a witch.
So
that
person. Noted.
Yeah, okay. Exactly.
Let's go to the rest of the... Yeah, I always thought that the policemen were a bit, like, lousy at their job, because I was like, sometimes she's, like, right there, and they're like, Yeah. Oh, she's there! And I'm like, oh my god.
Yes!
Not a lot of, like, her, like, you know, most people that she interacts with don't look like her, so she would be easily spotted.
Yeah, no, they lose her all the time.
Yeah, I know, I'm like... Who are these police people?
Yeah, and they see the magic happen. So by the second season, we understood that, like, no one's that impressed by it. It's just, like, almost like a cool trick. Oh, yeah. And also she, one of her friends is having trouble with college, like, because he also has to work. And so he's like, I keep falling asleep. Essentially, she made, like, basically a magic version of, like, Adderall. And she gives it to him, and then there's this whole side story where they start selling it, and kids are just getting high on her potion. So magic is not, like, weird.
Okay, that's controversial.
She's
in some way.
This like powerful witch is essentially like reduced to like
a dealer
to like a pharmaceutical rep. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, that's a turn. Did they justify why this change of?
What I understood was because the policemen were like, oh, magic is real and it's just here. Okay. So everyone just accepts that. Okay. Because then there's this girl, her name is Amanda, and she's just like a hater. Yeah. And she is trying to pass like a school-wide ban on magic. Ooh. And also like it's like a weird side story. I'm not really sure what it added to anything, but Amanda is part of this like secret like TikTok club, and they all wear masks, and they do challenges where they challenge like it's like weird challenges.
Each other to do things.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so they're technically anonymous. Mm-hmm. And one of the people during one of their challenges died. Oh. And so like it's like the elephant in the room every time she's around. Like it's like on their mind, but no one can tell anyone what happened. Okay. And so I think she's afraid that like Carmen, because she's a witch, can like see that.
So then she hates Carmen.
She hates Carmen, yeah.
Got it. I mean, we needed an antagonist somewhere.
Yeah, but we also have like Kobo, the pirate, running around, and he's like...
Is he like tripping about seeing all this?
He is tripping.
Where's my boat and all that?
Mostly he's like, where's my money? Because then... like Joniki kind of brought him with him because the pirate had buried treasure that was never found. So Joniki is just after the money, after the booty.
So that's but where. Mm-hmm.
So Kobo and Joniki are just running around trying to find where he hid his money. They do eventually find this big stash of money, which I'm like, how much is that even worth anything?
Yeah, now? I know.
Because it was
it's
like
money from
3 centuries ago.
You just go to the bank?
Yeah, you can't just deposit that.
This is a pirate.
Yeah.
I tell you. Came from
I know.
16.
Do you remember the witch we had? Okay, so this guy's a pirate.
Show him. Okay, got it. Cool.
And
some money.
And so the pirate also was after, like, one of the times when Carmen and her friend had traveled to the past, there was this big brawl that broke out. Mm-hmm. And Carmen's friend... Alicia, she sort of a romantic comedy style fell on Kobo. Oh. And she got up, but as she got up, she used her hands to stand up, and she grabbed an amulet he was wearing, and she took it with her. Oh. So Kobo is also looking for this amulet, because he's like, it's my good luck thing.
When are they going to fall for each other?
Well... a fall like that, you can't help but fall in love when you fall on top of a dude.
I love it. That's how it works.
That's how love happens. You fall on top of a guy. He breaks your fall.
Yeah. And then you steal his necklace, which I love.
Yeah. And then you steal his necklace.
Yeah. Okay.
Classic love story.
Love it.
So then he's looking for his amulet because he says a very powerful witch gave it to him, and it's what keeps him safe, blah, blah, blah. So then Carmen for a while doesn't realize that this guy that they've just bought new clothes for is the pirate from 1646.
Okay.
And eventually she realizes it, and she's like, why is he here? Like, we're like 8 episodes in, and she's like,
really?
why is this guy here?
Who's this guy?
Yeah, she's like, you look familiar.
Oh my God.
And so they have to tell her.
Got it.
And then throughout this whole thing, you also learn that, like, the amulet was important. Somehow they, like, because things happen in the past, and sometimes they, like, the present people go to, like, history books and find information about the changes they themselves made in the past.
Okay.
And so they find out that Kobo and Alicia, they've been, like, a couple in multiple lives. Like, they've lived several different lives, and they always end up together.
So they go back to different times now?
But they don't go back to different times. It's just she has some sort of vision where she sees them together at different time periods. But every time they're together, he always dies.
Oh my God.
And so she's like, I need to give him back his amulet because he always dies in every story. He always dies.
Sorry, that's horrifying. I was like, that's so cute that they are always in love, but he dies. Oh, okay, sorry.
Love has
a hopeless romantic.
I know. That was very sweet.
That's adorable. Okay, so then do we get him his amulet back? Because I'm scared.
Alicia had actually burned his amulet. But
why? Was she mad at him for something?
Oh, because when she came back, she looked him up in the history books, and she found out that he was like a really bad guy. Like, he was like murdering people and like all this stuff.
Don't just believe what you read out there.
Yes.
Ask questions.
Yes, that is the right response.
Thank you.
That is not what she did. But you're right. That is what she should have thought. Because then when she met him and she asked him about that stuff, he's like, yeah, of course I have to. Like, he's like, I made that shit up. He's like, I'm a pirate. Like, people need to be afraid of you. The more people are.
He was a bad boy.
He was actually not.
Got it.
In theory, yeah.
Yeah. He was making it up for street cred.
It was street cred. He didn't do any of those things. Because he's like, the worse people think you can do, the less you have to touch them.
Oh my God. Alicia, come on.
I know. I also like truth bombs from Kobo.
Yeah. I love that. Just create a reputation and then you don't have to do things.
Yes, truth bombs from a pirate.
Yes. Love it.
So then,
what a lesson.
I know. He's actually like really cool. I guess.
I feel bad. Okay. So
wouldn't it be nice if all of the bad things in history were just people trying to get street cred?
I love that. That's a great idea.
I wish that were like true.
But everybody was nice and they didn't do what we have heard.
Yes. So then, I mean, eventually, like, there's just a lot of time traveling back and forth in the portal. One time when they go back in time, a witch tags along with them, and she goes through the portal. Okay. And this is like an ancient witch, and she goes inside, like her soul goes inside of Amanda. And so Amanda was a hater, but she wasn't a witch. But now
she's a hater witch.
Now she is a hater witch. So, like...
So now she's okay with magic.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And we know that because, like, whenever she's in a mirror, her reflection is always like the other witch. It's not Amanda. And so basically what happens is Amanda, or this new witch, she wants the book of spells, and she wants to do the spell that Carmen is doing, because it's like she wants to, like, I forget what her thing is. But couldn't they
collaborate? Wasn't she looking for other witches to collaborate with or something? Yeah,
so Carmen needs the other witch to collaborate with her, but she doesn't need to agree to it. She just, somehow, they both need to, didn't quite explain it.
Got it. Makes sense.
Yes. I'm not sure what the witch wants other than just to be the most powerful witch. Yeah. And so for that, she needs to, like, eliminate Carmen. And so she wants her to lose her powers. And so basically they get into the situation where they both have a book of spells. Mm-hmm. And it turns out that in order for both of them to get their wish, which is for this other witch, the wish for the other witch is to be the most powerful witch in the world. Okay. That's my new tongue twister. I just made it.
I wouldn't even attempt to do that, but sure, love that.
Carmen's wish is to bring back her mom.
Yes, and the other witch is to be powerful.
Yes.
Got it.
So the only way they can achieve that is if they get their friends to sign the book. And while signing it, what it means is that they give up on their biggest wish. Oh. And so for Carmen's friends, like there was one that was like a couple and they had like broken up. And so the guy, his wish was to get back together with her. Oh. They were really sweet. They actually were such a sweet couple. Okay. And when they had broken up, she had gotten this like amazing opportunity to go do some research at this place she really wanted to go to.
So that's her wish.
Her wish was to go.
And they give it up for her?
And so, well, they have like this, I think they have like a day or something to make up their mind. There's like a limited amount of time. Alicia's wish was for Kobo not to die because she knows he's going to die every time. Yes.
We like that.
And then I think, one of her other friends, like he was in love with this guy that left or something. And so his wish was for him to come back. And then Amanda's friends, their wishes were like also like, I want to be a movie star, and Johnny Key's wish was to be a famous singer,
a rapper.
Yeah. And so they took some time that everyone thought about it. I was kind of unclear like why everyone had to sign it, because like Amanda only had like 3 friends.
That's what I'm saying. Like I was thinking, does the bad girl have like friends? Probably like kind of Mean Girls situation where they're just like scared of her, but like.
I mean, yeah. So she had 3 other people, and they were the ones that were all in that the TikTok group thing. And so she had 3 friends, but like Carmen has more friends than that.
So why do so many have to
I know. Why couldn't she just pick 4 or 3 friends?
The ones that have the worst wishes.
I know, right? Or like
would you give up your wish for someone else?
What would it be?
What would it be?
What would yours be? What is your biggest wish?
My biggest wish. Well, I would love to be able to tour doing stand-up all around the world. Like, just go to these places. Like, I've already done it in the U.S. and you end up in these random towns that are so much fun. So I would love to do that around the world.
That would be amazing. Oh my God. I don't know. I think my wish, I don't know. Okay,
it's a big question.
It's hard to pick just one thing. I know. I mean, I guess it would be that I would just successfully. My wish is to never not have healthcare. Whether that means I have enough money,
I love it. Or someone gives it to me.
Or someone gives it to me.
I like that.
It doesn't matter how. I just wish to never not have healthcare. Because that scares me more than anything. I would love it if it came because I was so successful that I never had to worry about it. But yeah. Would you give it up for your... So if the consequences of her friends not signing the thing is that she loses all her powers.
That's big stakes.
That is big stakes.
Well, I don't want to give up my dream.
Right?
For your powers.
That's the whole
again,
point.
You could just be a normal person. Walking around like us.
One of the friends was like, so she'd just be like us. Yeah. Like, I was like, that's a good point. To be
special?
Yeah. He was like, so she just lives as a person. She just...
Wouldn't she want that after all? She could just go to school and be normal.
Yeah, also, how much magic do you need now? Yeah. Like, because back then...
There's internet.
I know! There's technology. It's like...
You want to travel? There's planes.
Yes! You don't need a portal.
Yeah.
Like...
I don't know. I don't think I would give it up. I'm sorry, Queen, but no.
It's just the idea of, like, the consequences. We think of them as being, like, the highest stakes ever, right? But I felt that when someone brought that up, all of a sudden I was like, oh, this takes the stakes right out of it. Because the truth is, why couldn't she?
She'd just be a normal person that, like, then she wouldn't have all these things that she has to do.
Yeah, it's like, well, we all live like that. Yeah. Like, so you're just like us.
Flowers.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So part of me is like, well, I mean, just be regular.
But do they sign it?
They do sign it. They do eventually. Yeah, like Johnny Key's like, okay, well, if I can't be a famous singer, maybe I'll be a famous actor. Like they just switch it to something. Fine. And I guess you could do that. You could switch it up.
Yeah. I would lie in my first one.
And then you would get the real one.
My greatest wish is to be a rapper.
There you go. Like, you can't. I'm sorry. All right. So, so-and-so is not going to be in love with so-and-so. And Andrea, you are not going to be a famous rapper, I guess.
Oh, no.
Sorry.
I'll change it. I love it. I think, yeah, we could do that.
I think...
but their friends are very good, okay. And then do the friends of Amanda
they
sign
do
it? Okay.
all sign it.
So what happens?
So then they have another so then Amanda ends up with all the money that Cobo had hidden away as his treasure, and she does this like TikTok where she shows everybody and she's like, this is the bounty for Carmen and Yeluz. So then people just break into her house. God. And then there's this big ass like fight where everyone's trying to protect Carmen because they're just trying to kidnap her. I think at that point, someone was going to shoot Alicia because she was protecting Carmen. And then Cobo takes the shot. So Cobo dies once again. Course. Yeah.
Again,
so
Alicia, why did you burn the thing?
I know the amulet. Carmen had made a new amulet for him, but he slipped it into Alicia's pocket at one point because he's like, I need you to be safe, because he knew like danger was coming, and she didn't know that he had done that, and then he gets shot.
That's cute.
Yeah, that is really sweet.
That's very telenovela.
Yeah.
Love it. You're safe. I like that. Okay.
So they have really almost like the love story or so is kind of more theirs. Alicia and Cobo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then when they both do the signing of the book, does anything happen or no? Or they just sign it and...
So when they sign the book, Carmen gets like her powers. She has her full powers. And then the witch, she kind of... What happens to her? The witch... Wait. Oh, yeah. She sends Carmen back. Like, they have this battle. The witch sends Carmen back in time. But then her friends somehow help destroy the witch. Like, the witch ends up, like, coming out of Amanda. And she just disappears somewhere. Yeah. So they do save her. And then they bring her, like... They bring Carmen back. And since they completed the signing... Yeah. Carmen comes back with her mom, and she does bring her mom, and she's like, these are my friends. And then some of the people, like, it's kind of, they almost hint at the fact that not everyone for sure lost their wish, because like there's still some like feelings there between like the guy and the girlfriend that was leaving. So there's still some hope for Johnny Key's career.
We want to see that. Yeah. That's the one we're very excited about.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and she brings her mom, and throughout this, there was like this other wizard that she had met, and when she had gone back in time, she had saved that wizard's like ancestor or something. So he like knew who she was because they had like passed down the story of her saving him. Yeah. And then I guess they're dating. Like, so she has a new guy now who's also a witch in the modern time. Because when her mom comes back, she's like, this is my friend that I'm also dating. And so I guess she has a boyfriend now.
Wow. Okay.
Of her choosing.
Okay.
And he's also a witch. He's a wizard witch. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Magical.
Okay.
And he's also very attractive.
Of course he has to be hot. I didn't want to make it. But is Cobo hot too, the parrot?
Cobo is, but I feel like he's a little bit...
Ragged or what?
It's almost the opposite. Like, they give him, like, pirate makeup. Okay. But he's, like, you could tell he's, like, a really pretty guy. Oh my God. Yeah. Okay. Like, he looked kind of Justin Bieber-y to me.
Yeah. That's another thing about watching these things. Like, most people are going to be very attractive.
Yeah. I
Except
feel
for
like
maybe the bad guys, but also they are attractive.
no, even the bad guys. Like, and then Esteban is still in love with her, and he's still.
That's what I was gonna ask about.
Yeah, Lucien.
Do they never have like anything?
No, I don't know if they're gonna make more, but he is just. I think the story is he's just eternally through time in love with her.
In love with her. Do they have like a past where they were like lovers?
No, never. But Lucien does go back. He goes back in time because he says there's just a lot of work for him to do back there, so he leaves. And Carmen stays, and her mom stays.
That's cute.
Yeah.
That's a good mom. I like that. Okay.
Yeah, it ends really sweet.
So it ends out well. So both seasons end up well. That's good.
Yeah.
Sometimes they'll leave you in a cliffhanger, and I'll like when I break the TV. Sorry, I wanted to do that. Continue.
Yeah. No. It ends. It ends well.
Okay.
Yeah, and I guess I just felt like the main things that stood out to me were just like the concept of like love and struggle. How like when you look at season 1 and season 2, the season 1 love story, which is like so much what we're used to, like the traditional love story. When you go back and revisit a lot of these old stories, when you reread them as an adult, you're like, oh, that was a little like coerced or like
no, like so many stories that you watch when you're younger and you're like, this is love, and then you watch it later and you're like, that was not that was a toxic relationship.
Yeah,
that was something that she couldn't see how he was controlling her or stuff like that. So definitely the power play there, which again we've seen so many times. But I did think like sometimes it was just like white owner of a black slave, like all those things. Like again, I get it, but also I think it does bring, and now in the second season you say it, like the roles of women and men, power play in relationships, like that's a lot of things that you can also explore there, which is great.
Yeah, because I thought it was interesting that now that she has choice, she's maybe not as interested, but also now that she has choice, he's not as interested in her, which is because you would think like, okay, well, she had no choice, so she had to be with him. He had a choice. And now that she is like independent and living her life, like it's in a weird way, like you understand that his attraction to her was the fact that she was below him.
And that she needed him basically to exist, because like when they first meet, her only way out is him, you know. And now she has other options, which is like he likes that she is so dependent on him. And I think it speaks to like I think what I see now is that unfortunately I feel like there's a lot of young men out there who are very angry at women because they don't pick them. No, like now that we have a choice, because before, if you were not the nicest person or this or that, but you had money or you had the means, maybe some woman would have to be with you. But now that we get to choose, and I've had these conversations with male friends of mine, like I'm like, it's not like, it shouldn't be seen as a problem. Like they like you for you instead of for what you can provide. But I think some men feel insecure that then they're not, like they don't know what they're offering, or like a woman might not choose that.
Yeah. I mean, in general, it's like, look, regardless of your gender, when you want to be with a person because without them wanting you, when you want to be with them because they have to be with you, like that's a problem.
Oh, absolutely. And I just think like the roles are changing and we should all be adapting, and there's still like a bit of that man wanting women to be feminine in ways that maybe we don't consider anymore, that we like the roles of like who takes care of the house, kids, dogs, whatever. So I think like that's a great thing that happened in the second season. Now I'm gonna watch it because now I must know, but I think like that's a great thing to bring up, because many times some novellas are very much like the woman only lives for the man, and like that's all she does, and she's pretty for him, and like and all her value and worth is on him. And in this case, she's studying, she's the witch, she's a strong one. So
well, and I mean, talk about like switch and power dynamics, like she has all the power in this time. And he's like literally just a dude. And I will say, like, to dudes out there, like, there's nothing wrong with being just a dude, but be a good dude. Be someone like, you don't have to be magical or the owner of like people to be impressive.
No,
like,
that's I think like that's a good debate that I'm like, if some of these like young kids could like listen to these things and see like it's not taking any power from you, it's just like creating things in a different way instead of like that where I'm like obliged to be with you basically, is that I want to.
Yeah, I think that like when you're so focused on like looking for a partner regardless of who the partner is, you're not going to get a good partner. Like if you find someone that you like, don't think about what they bring to your life. Think, what can I bring to theirs? In general, no matter who you are. Yeah. And if you're not bringing anything to the table, then why would they?
And mostly, why is he in 2019 waiting at home doing nothing instead of going out and seeing the technology?
I know, like learning how to use things, knowing how to do things.
I thought it would be like a way better situation for them to come to the future, you know?
Yeah, because she could probably get him into school. Oh, yeah. She could help him out.
She can do that.
Yeah, she can teach you, like, navigate how to, like, navigate this world. Yeah. And he's just, like, hanging out. He doesn't do anything. It's like...
He's used to being a rich boy.
Yeah.
No, yeah, but that is a good reflection, and I like that at the end she just keeps going.
Yeah.
I mean... we spend a lot of time trying to make this work, yes, but we've all done that, and then it doesn't work, and you go out there, and there's other people. So, yes.
And that is a great life lesson. Yes. Like, sometimes we work really hard for something to work, and if it doesn't work, walk away.
It's not meant for you, honey.
It's not.
Get out.
There will be a hotter witch somewhere in your life.
Yeah, he will come by afterwards. And that will be good, and he will be very hot, you know?
Yes. That is a great life lesson. Yes, there will be someone hotter waiting.
Yes, better, hotter, doesn't have issues with you and how you are. Because what we want is someone who accepts you how you are. That's what I want.
Yeah.
That's what I want. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this was, it kind of grew on me. Yeah. Also, the other thing I thought was really interesting is that most of the time when I've seen any kind of love story, they always will use the magic. It's whenever I've seen magic in a love story, the magic is always like a part of the love story where it's like somebody is tricking someone into falling in love with them. And I was really glad that this didn't happen in any of the episodes. Not once did I see a love potion get made, someone get tricked into being with anyone. Yeah. Which again goes back to like our values have changed. Yeah. It's like if you trick someone into being with you, like that's criminal. Yeah. Like that's pretty bad. And before we used to, I think as a culture,
it was so adorable.
Yeah.
Like, oh, like he enchanted her.
Yeah, like if the 80s movies were true, we would believe that it's totally cool to trick someone into falling in love with you.
It's just not.
It's not.
But no, I think there was, I don't know where it was, but at some point the mom tells him, like, you cannot be with her. She's black, she's a witch, she's this. And he was like, those are the reasons why I love her, you know?
He does say that.
Which is like, whoa, what a statement. But also I was like, okay, he seems to accept who she is. It's not like she did anything to him to make, like, he knows who he is with. So I like that, but then I don't like that. Then they turn it around and he's like, no, let's go back to...
I liked it when you had to be here.
Yeah. Exactly. Didn't you like me? But no, I do think like it also grew on me. At first I was like, oh, it looks like a bit more like, Romeo Juliet-y, like all for the boy. I'm like, you're in 2019, go for it. But but no, I think it does, it's an interesting concept to go back and forth. And also this whole like magical powers, but also they're taken from her. We don't know really well what they do. So I also like that they just don't take over everything, which sometimes it's just like fights. No, here there was like a story too, and characters. Yeah,
I think that it was really smart to insert into the story that she shouldn't use them, because if she uses them she gets caught, because that kept it from becoming just like her being
just constantly doing which I think it would have lessened the depth of the story, you know.
Yeah, definitely. There's also this like really cool moment where it's where she's back in time. People think she has her powers, so they're like doing what she wants, even though she is like she's still like low status. She basically lets all of her friends who are slaves go, and then Cristobal's mom comes out and she's like, how dare you? Like, I can't believe you're doing this. And then she turns to her, Carmen turns to her and says, like, you want to come? She's like, you and I are not that different. Like, you're a slave too. Like, tell me you have choice. Where is your choice? And then it's like a short little moment, and the mom, she gets it.
Yeah.
And then she hides them. She helps them escape. Yeah. So even though it was a little too short for my liking, because I felt like you couldn't see the development of going from a person who, like, feels superior enough to, like, enslave people to all of a sudden being on their side. But I like that it was in there, because even though it was like a shortened amount of time that we saw that transition, at least we saw it.
Yeah. And mostly, like, we're two women in completely different situations, quote unquote, but then we're going through the same, basically. Yeah. Yeah. No, I think, like, it has great moments. I don't know, like, maybe because of length or things, like, sometimes some things felt like something was brought up and suddenly we don't go anywhere with that. I'm like, okay. But I think overall it's an interesting watch.
Yeah. And I think maybe they put a lot into the story, and I think they just couldn't follow each direction. Absolutely. But I did appreciate that, like, moment of, like, solidarity between them.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Yeah, so it's a fun watch.
Yes, it's a fun watch. We recommend it.
Thank you so much.
I've been surviving with this hat.
I can't believe you're still wearing it.
Okay.
It is, like, so hot right now. We're, like, sweating in here.
I did it.
Yeah, I can't believe you wore it the whole time.
But it's nice. It's fun.
You like my little, like, witch thingy?
I love it. It's all Halloween-y.
It is.
My boyfriend has been asking me, what are we dressing up for Halloween? And I'm like,
what are you going to do?
I don't know. Do you know your Halloween?
No, I don't know yet. I don't know what I'm going to do. It's on a Thursday, so.
It's on a Thursday. Okay. I don't know. We're also doing, like, a stand-up show that you have to dress up. So he's like, we have to start thinking of these outfits. And I'm like, I just don't plan. I'm from Spain. I plan the day before, which is so bad, but I will plan. I promise.
Do you typically, like, do, like, full, like, whole body outfit?
I mean, I've done Avatar and like painted my whole body blue, so that was fun.
Wow.
But other times, sometimes it's just, like, the resort of the moment. That was my Spider-Man last year, which was a great success because I was, like, wearing, like, a spandex thing around me. Good, but it was just, like, going to my friend's house and they're like, I have this costume. I'm like, great. So depends on the moment, but if I can, I'll do, like, something. I like doing makeup, like, all that jazz, and it looks horrible 20 minutes later, but in the moment, fun.
You take the pictures, you're good.
Exactly. How about you? Do you go all in?
I mean, I love to, but, like, I won't. If I'm just home, I'm not gonna do the whole thing. But yeah, if I was going somewhere, I do like to get, like, really dressed up. Yeah, it's just fun.
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah, I like it. Last year I did, like, a promo for American Horror Story, so they painted our faces and then we had to walk in the parade of West Hollywood, and it was very fun because it was, like, 20 of us just dressed in, like, this blue face costume. It, like, for days I was blue, but it was very cool. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, how fun!
Yeah, it was so cool. Yeah.
The last time I was in a Halloween parade, I was, like, 12 years old. Because Santa Paula, where I'm from, they have a Halloween parade, which I love, and you get to dress up, and I assume I walked because it was probably a school thing, you know. But man, I'm gonna just start parades.
Yeah.
Parades should happen. Actually, no, not in LA.
Not in LA.
Because they block way too much traffic.
No.
I'm gonna not do more parades.
I just live in West Hollywood, so it's right there. But if not, I would not have gone because it's, like, madness with the traffic and all that stuff. But, you know.
Yeah. Is there anything that you would like to promote that you're working on?
Yes, I'm actually promoting, as some people that watch novelas speak Spanish, we are doing stand-up in Spanish in Los Angeles. So we're starting to do that because there's an audience for that. So it's called voyalheightscomedia, and we do it in Boyle Heights. So if anybody wants to come, the shows will be in my Instagram at Andrea Vicunia or at voyalheights. So yeah.
Awesome. We'll put those links up. Yes. And so wait, is it something that happens, like, monthly or?
Yes, we're doing it monthly for now. We've done 2 shows and we had, like, a sold out in the last one. So that was great. We just want to do it for the community. We want people to be able to speak Spanish to each other, which sometimes like you don't have that chance that frequently. And all of our comedians are from different countries. So I'm from Spain. My co-host is from Argentina. we have like Puerto Rico, blah, blah, so you hear all the different accents. So that's very fun too.
I'm doing tomorrow night. I'm doing my first time I've done improv in Spanish. I've never done it in Spanish before. So by the time this comes out, it will have already happened. But so with UCB, they have the group Menudo. They're doing a show tomorrow where it's 4 different groups. 3 of them are going to be in English, and 1 is going to be a Spanish language improv group.
Yes,
and I'm really excited. Hopefully they do it again. Like I hope they keep it going.
No, truly, there's an audience for Spanish shows. Like we didn't think so. We would do Spanglish, and now suddenly like we started doing full Spanish, and people are like very excited.
Yeah, I mean I know Spanish Aquí does a lot of shows out here too. So. I'm really excited to. We'll see how it goes. I've never done improv in Spanish, but
I'm sure it will be fun.
We'll see. It's just gonna be. I'm just gonna be like the white person that only knows like 3 words. I'm gonna walk onto every sketch just like ay, Dios mío.
Because is your Spanish pristine?
It's actually pretty good because I did grow up speaking Spanish. My parents don't speak English, so at home we always speak Spanish. But I have a language separation in my brain because all of the home stuff I learned in Spanish. So like I don't know how to say a lot of like I always say like cobija. I always forget how to say like home things in English. I don't know the words a lot of the time. But like school and work and stuff has always been in English. So I don't know how to say things like schedule and like time card in Spanish.
I understand. Like cobija.
I'm just gonna say all my sketches are gonna be, all my improvs are gonna be in like home.
No, but that's nice because I have friends that have grown up here whose families like didn't want to encourage a lot of the Spanish, so they just like basically understand it but cannot speak it or anything like that. So that's nice that you also have. Yeah, it's been great. I love it. It's a huge benefit. I love being able to speak it. I wish I could speak more languages. But that is the case with a lot of people because I mean there's a lot of discrimination for Spanish speakers, so I understand why a lot of my friends don't want to show it. I always thought coming from Spain, I was like, oh, this is gonna be a great asset. They're gonna just be like, she speaks English and Spanish, come right in. But I have this joke. It only gets me cast as the maid. That's all it does, you know. So I'm like, why don't you use it as an asset? Like I can help you with so many things, understanding each other. So I think it should be encouraged to use both languages.
Yeah. I'm really hopeful with like more and more like comedy happening in Spanish, and not just in Spanglish, but in Spanish. That it'll like maybe try to remove some of that stigma from.
And I think like the community needs to laugh more at things because I think like overall we're very like we're used to like stern parents, blah blah, and I think like if we can also like make a bit of laugh out of ourselves, I think that would help also in like the dynamics between us because in English we all have all these comedies, all these things, but I think like if we can bring that. So last time we did it, some people were very thankful. They're like, we've never seen this in our lives. Like what is it? You just go up and speak and be like.
There's some really great comedy happening in Spanish that I've been able to see like on either like Instagram or like even some Netflix specials have come out. So I'm excited for where that is going, that trend.
Me too.
Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
I hope you have a great Halloween.
Yes, I will report back on my outfits.
So much fun. and just thank you everyone for joining us once again.
Thank you.
Please be safe, have fun, and remember to live novelally.
Yeah.
Bye!